Welcome everyone to hopefully a pretty short video on the terrestrialization rules. So I'm just going to go through the survey results here and just kind of see if we can parse out some solutions for terrestrialization. So looking through what you feel the problems with terrestrialization are: unpredictable team building, prepping complications. Teras are way too good in the draft format, and there needs to be heavy restrictions on it. Some mounds are broken. Cheapens planning. So what I'm seeing in here mostly is planning for Tera's the hardest part. That's where the pressure points are. So we're going to go through, and I mean, there's other problems too, which like lack of counterplay to certain threats, Volcarona, that goes hand in hand with some mounds are broken with open Tera. That goes hand in hand. I think we can address that moving forward with some of the tools we have. So how do you feel about having no restrictions? Mostly on the negative side here. Some people really want it, but mostly on the negative side here. So I think this is the way I'm interpreting this is if we can't come to us, like people want there to be some restrictions as long as they're effective, right? How do you feel about banning terrestrialization entirely? Very little support for this. So we're going to be playing in metagames with Tera for sure. Tera Captain's pretty positive response. Like the worst anybody was on it is lukewarm. We had it last season. It did alleviate some of the pressure, and we're going to try to keep that going. Banning Tera Blast. This one was brought up to me. Not very good reception to this. Like this tells me we don't really need to look into Tera Blast. There's other pressing issues. How do you feel about revealing Tera types at team preview? This I was pretty high on personally until I saw the SPL rules, and I think that is going to kind of shape how the rest of this goes. This tells me that, because the other thing is this doesn't help with the planning aspect of it. Now this had enough of a positive enough response that I think if after we put in other changes we want to revisit this is something we can circle back to. But this is way on the back burner for now. How do you feel about limiting the number of Tera types roster Pokemon can have? So this is what the SPL's rules are of you have your Tera Pokemon and you can only choose between 3 Tera types they're allowed to have. And you can make changes to those. If we were going to do it, we would do it weekly. This doesn't have as solid of a response. It's still mostly positive, but I think that this is something that people aren't as interested in. I think this might be a further step that could be taken. How do you feel about terrestrialization of lower tier? This is quite positive. One person didn't want to do this. Everyone else is like, yeah, this is on the right path. How do you feel about banning terrestrialization on specific Pokemon? Again, enough people are on board with this that I understand if people don't want to do that. I get it. I think these are probably people who are like, Tera's fine. It's not a problem to plan for. I think those are these people, but this is pretty positive, right? Combination should be explored. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see this. I think there's very few of these solutions that just one thing is going to put it over the edge. Then after that, we have people's ideal terrestrialization rules. SPL rules, SPL would be a good start, or just ban Tera, which nobody wants to do. So we're going to read that as SPL rules. Lower tier Tera points, basically SPL rules. So that's the direction we're going to be going, okay? I know that... Oh, here. So this one, no terrestrialization with the status boosting move. Now, this, my gut reaction to it was against it, but I think if we kind of emulate some of the SPL tiering methods, the Pokemon that would abuse terrestrializing and setup most are the ones that aren't going to be able to Tera anyways. So I think that problem kind of ends up getting addressed just through the other rules that would be put in place. So what I'm going to say is we're down to a 3-rule combination. I think these results imply 3 potential solutions. 1, we're going to have low tier Tera. Whatever our cutoff for points, I believe right now we're kind of working with 9 points and below can Tera. 9 points and below can Tera. That's our cutoff. That's what we're going with. I don't think anybody really feels strongly about exploring other solutions. Obviously, one person did, but I can't really make the league for one person. So I think that's the direction we'll go. Now I think we have 3 options from there. On the low tier, do free Tera. Now the thing that I don't think people want to do with that, because people wanted a combination of things. Most people didn't think just one thing was the solution. So I don't expect people just want to do low tier Tera and any of those low tier mons can Tera. I don't think people want that. But it is a potential way we could go. The other thing we could do is low tier Tera plus Tera captains, which has a relatively positive response. And on top of that, we could also do limited number of Teras that Pokemon can have. So exact SPL rules. So I think we could... I really think like we do have 3 options there, but I don't think one of them is really an option of just doing low tier free Tera. I don't really think that would make people happy. I think potentially we could do captains on low tier Teras, but no further restrictions, or we could do captains on low tier Teras with restricted Tera types. I do think that probably addresses the issue of team building, hurdles the most. Another way you could look at it is we could go Tera captains low tier with no restrictions, and then we can see how that feels for a season, and then adjust up or down, either add restrictions on types or take away captains entirely to kind of see, like that gives us the most possible movement, right? I would really love to hear what people had to say about this. We're getting close to having a finalized tier list, so please let me know what your thoughts are on this. If you watch this, you might just end up answering the question on the Discord. But thank you all, and we'll be having some final rules coming out soon.